We're going to be going over the EL alarm that you may find helpful if you happen to see it occur on the terminal of the Si6ma ultrasonic line of humidifiers. In the IOM manual, there are 3 different reasons why this alarm would happen. It could be a fan that we're not able to deliver the mist out of the basin of the humidifier, and because of that, it throws off the level of the water in the humidifier. It could also be a transducer problem, that we have some transducers that are not firing at a rate that it's making the mist to deliver, and that can also increase the water level. But most often we have found, and this is from our experience, on construction sites or new build, when the pipes have not been flushed out, which they should, and in most cases mechanical companies are very good at doing that. But if it didn't happen, if there's anything in the line, whether it be Teflon tape or very small amounts of glue, there are so many things that can get caught up inside the pipe that nobody really knows about, but our ultrasonic humidifier is going to know at the fill valve. That's another reason why we put our pre-filters in each cabinet. But for some reason, if those were not put in, or if they were taken out and then something might have got through the pipe, it's hard to say. This is the #1 reason we have found the EL alarm will occur. And that is the fill valve on side of the humidifier on the right-hand side behind the black panel gets stuck open. And it's really simple to change out. This humidifier fill valve is extremely small. These humidifiers are so efficient when it comes to operation and the use of water. They don't require a lot of water at all. In fact, the largest humidifier that we carry is less than a quart of water to fill up. So you can imagine the bed of water is very small, so we don't need a lot of water going into it. And because of that, our fill valve orifice for the water to go through is extremely small as well. On that fill valve, we have a stem, and that stem gets energized from the controller and it lifts up, and that lets the water through. So what I'll do is we're going to turn the humidifier off. I'll go over to the side of the humidifier. We'll remove it together. We'll put it on a table. We'll take the stem off and look and see what's inside of it. In this case, this is just an example. We don't have anything in the line, but we could I could show you where that possibly will be, and you could thread it back in and hopefully get this humidifier going. So let's go over to the side of the humidifier. First off, let's make sure this humidifier is turned off. All right, I am at the side of the humidifier. This is the right-hand side of the humidifier if you're looking at the nozzles. And behind that, the black panel you'll have to remove, we have a fill valve and we have a drain valve. There's another video for what's called an ED alarm, which is a drain alarm. We rarely see this the way our units are designed, but there is another video on that if you're interested, or if you ever have that ED alarm. That's a really easy way to identify that as well. But today, we're going to be going over the EL alarm, which is a level alarm. What you'll need to do with the Phillips head screwdriver first, of course, we've turned the humidifier off, but we're going to need to remove that valve out of there. And in order to do it, it's fairly simple. Once the water has been turned off, there's 2 machine screws on front here, and we're going to want to remove those. You could set those aside. You could put those in the tray. And what you want to do is you just could bend this back slightly. It doesn't take a lot, but all you're going to want to do is get to the JG fitting behind it, or the stainless push connection fitting. What I found best is pull this one off first. What you're going to want to do is pull it back with, push your thumb in, pull the fitting back with your fingers, and then you can pull off. The same thing you're going to want to do on this fitting. The only difference is that you're going to want to push in and then back out. So once you get that off, now you have your solenoid on top of the valve. I want to say it's a 14. Yeah, it's a 14 millimeter. You're going to want to thread that off. And you can set that nut on side, and you'll want to take this valve off. Please make sure that your humidifier is turned off, and this is not potentially getting energized, because a coil that is energized that we don't have a stem on, we have potential of burning this up. So make sure your humidifier is completely shut off. At that point, we have a loose humidifier fill valve that we're going to take over on the table, spin off this stem, and I'll show you what we do to clean that out and get it put back in. All right, so here is the fill valve that we took out of that humidifier. On top of it, you have a 16 millimeter stem. So all you're going to want to do is loosen that gently and turn it to its side. You don't want it upside down. You don't want it right side up. Put it to the side. And what you want to do is just spin that loose to a point and pull it apart. And when you do, drop the stem down. And the reason you want to do this is because we have another stem internally, and that's the stem that's going to seat on top of this very small orifice that water goes through. But where we have found these getting stuck open is on top of this green little rubber seat. There is something there that will not allow it to set on top of the orifice that water goes through. So you want to make sure that is completely clean. Wipe it with your finger. And if for some unknown reason this stem comes out, which is okay, you just want to make sure that stem gets reseated back into it and this spring on it was not affected or pulled out. So you just want to put that back in. And at that point, once your seat is clean, you'll just thread it back in. You'll use your 16 millimeter wrench and you'll tighten it. And that is the extent of cleaning the fill valve. We'll go over to the humidifier, put it back in, turn it back on, and our hopes would be is that that's going to clear the alarm if you've already determined that your fans are operational and your transducers have been running prior to that alarm. So we'll go over to the humidifier now. All right, now we're over at the humidifier. The first thing we're going to want to do is to put the solenoid back onto the stem. This is a directional nut, so you want to make sure the bottom half goes down where there's a spacer to fill that in. And then you could use your 16 again. I'm sorry, your 14. And just hand tighten. It doesn't have to be real tight. On this one, it is important that you put this one on first. So you're going to want to push that all the way in. And then you're going to want to turn it and push this one in. At that point, you're ready to put your two small machine screws back into the valve. And at that point, this job is complete. You could turn the humidifier back on. It's going to go through its routine startup where it's going to go blue and then red and then back blue on the humidifier. And your terminal is also going to go through a sequence of events to get started up, at which point, if the humidity level in the room is lower than the set point, the fill valve is going to open up and you should start running. At one point, the basin is going to fill with water and the fill valve is going to disappear on the humidifier terminal, and you should not hear water going into the basin. Hopefully this video was helpful, and if you have any questions, please contact your local representative or UltraPure at 1-800-729-5192. We're here to help you. Enjoy.